The latest headlines this evening. It's the ITV News.
There has been yet more chaos in Kent, but after 3 days and nights, the gridlock has eased. It's blighted the start of holidays and delayed more freight. Today, roads to the Channel Tunnel were going nowhere.
How long has this journey been?
So far, 7 hours.
7 hours?
7 hours, yeah. We got the worst part, which is these last 2 miles.
Also on the programme, from tax to tackling immigration, the Tory leadership contenders on what they'd do to cut migrant numbers. Uncontrolled and spreading, the California wildfires, 14,000 acres already destroyed. And crashing out of the French Grand Prix, Leclerc hands the win to his rival, but a podium finish for 2 British drivers.
This is ITV News with Chris Shipp.
Hello, good evening. Whatever was to blame for the chaos in Kent, be it the extra checks caused by Brexit or a lack of border staff from France, the worst does appear to be over tonight. But there have been 3 days of travel disruption for car and lorry drivers trying to get to France. And today, queues were still snaking through the area, caused by the sheer number of vehicles on these surrounding motorways and roads. The biggest problems were at Folkestone's Channel Tunnel terminal. From there, Mark Mallett reports.
Some travelled overnight to try and avoid them. Others looked for alternative routes to try and bypass them. But all faced the same queues at the Eurotunnel entrance. The tailbacks stretched for miles, they lasted for hours in a part of Kent being called the new hotspot of holiday hell.
We left Bristol this morning 9 o'clock, so yeah, 5 hours, 6 hours on the way now.
It's just frustrating when you see you've only got half a mile to go and everything grinds to a halt.
How long has this journey been?
So far, almost 7 hours.
7 hours?
7 hours, yeah.
But it's affecting the locals too, even those without a reservation for the Eurotunnel.
We're heading for Folkestone for lunch. And
So it's not even, you're not even trying to get onto the tunnel or anything?
No. We might make dinner, but I don't think we're going to make lunch.
That is the Eurotunnel entrance back there. As you can see, cars backed right the way up under the bridge that I'm standing on and as far as my eye can see. Eurotunnel say the problem isn't at their end, that they're running a full and normal service today, 4 shuttles per hour, each of them full, and carrying every passenger who turns up regardless of whether they missed an earlier reservation today. So what is the problem? Could it be the roads? Some say one major road leading to 2 of the UK's biggest ports, that's the problem.
I think there's a growing acknowledgement across government that this is a vital travel and trade route and that the infrastructure leading to it is insufficient.
Many say the frustration at Folkestone was caused by the delays at Dover, caused by the extra Brexit and passport checks there. There is a fear that the travel chaos is far from over.
We're seeing this mass migration of people heading out. That's also converging with a lot of freight traffic too. Operation Brock is in place, and I think unfortunately across this summer that could be a fairly recurring scenario, particularly for the Eurotunnel.
For Brits travelling abroad this year, whether by plane, train, automobile or boat, it seems the holiday will get off to a slow start. Mark Mallett, ITV News, Folkestone.
Now, in the race to become the next Prime Minister, it was tax which dominated when Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss left the starting blocks. But today, both were making promises on immigration. The 2 candidates said they would stick to the controversial Rwanda deportation plan and pledge to cut the number of illegal migrants crossing to the UK. Our political correspondent Dan Hewitt is here. Dan, they started off campaigning on tax. They've moved now to immigration. We must remember it's the Conservative Party membership they're appealing to.
That's right, Chris. I'm going to hear a lot of this stuff over the next few weeks. Plenty of pledges and promises. worth remembering they're appealing to a very small, very specific group of people, about 160,000 Conservative Party members. If the opinion polls are to be believed, Rishi Sunak is the one with the most work to do. He's currently in second place. He was in Cheshire today and he was talking very tough on immigration, to try and appeal to those Tory Party members. He said he would do everything he could to try and make the Rwanda policy work. That's the policy of sending illegal migrants who arrive in the UK over to Rwanda to have their applications processed. He went further and said he wants refugee numbers to be capped and aid money to be withdrawn from countries that don't take failed asylum applications. This is what he had to say earlier today.
No option should be off the table because it's important that we have control of our borders. Now, we have always been a compassionate, tolerant and welcoming country. Indeed, I am the product of that and my family emigrated here. But it's absolutely right that the system works fairly for all and people can't break the rules.
Now, not to be outdone, Liz Truss, his opponent today, said that she would also try and make the Rwanda policy work. She said she wants to see more illegal migrants sent to Rwanda. Worth remembering, though, so far, no illegal migrants have been sent to Rwanda. The whole policy has been mired in legal challenges. It's worth remembering here that Tory leadership contests tend to lean to the right in the same way that Labour leadership contests lean to the left. The crucial question is, whoever wins, can they appeal to the wider electorate? The public is watching these debates. They're not existing in a vacuum. Tomorrow we'll hear the two of them take part in the first TV debate.
OK, interesting day tomorrow. Thank you. A wildfire which began close to California's famous Yosemite National Park on Friday has now burned 14,000 acres of forest, and none of it, according to firefighters, has yet been contained. Despite aircraft tackling it from overhead, the tinder dry land following record droughts is continuing to burn. Lewis Warner reports.
Edging closer and closer, this wildfire now threatens the famous Yosemite National Park. California's firefighters are battling to stop it in its tracks and save as much forest land as they can. So far, more than 6,000 people have been evacuated and 10 homes have been destroyed.
They came by about 15-20 minutes ago and told us that everybody's got to go. About 4 o'clock the power went out and the fire's been coming towards us faster and faster.
Officials have declared a state of emergency, describing the fire as explosive and extremely aggressive. Fire crews attempt to fight the flames from the ground and the air, with scheduled water drops every 45 minutes. But fallen trees are getting in the way, slowing the efforts of firefighters on the ground.
We currently have 403 personnel assigned to the fire, and we're getting in more resources. We're the top priority fire in the state right now. We're optimistic that we have great crews there on the ground, and then with the support with the aircraft that we'll make some progress with this fire.
California has experienced increasingly larger and deadlier wildfires in recent years. Climate change has made this environment much warmer and drier. The fire is not expected to be completely contained until at some point next week, with this turning out to be a sadly predictable start to California's wildfire season. Lewis Warner, ITV News.
Meanwhile, here a major incident was declared in Surrey this afternoon after a large fire. The blaze broke out on a nature reserve on Hankley Common near Farnham, but has since been brought under control. But in Northern Ireland, a different kind of weather-related issue where homes were evacuated due to flooding after heavy rain. 6 people had to be rescued in Londonderry and Strabane. Next, the entire board of Cricket Scotland has today resigned ahead of what is expected to be a highly critical report into racism. The independent investigation was ordered after players claimed they suffered racist abuse. Martha Fairley is here. And Martha, all of this happened, less than 24 hours before this report was due to publish?
Yes, and it's expected to be a very significant report for Scottish cricket, a review which has involved referrals to Police Scotland. And it came after complaints of institutional racism from Majid Haq, Scotland's all-time leading wicket taker, who was sent home from the World Cup in 2015 after sending a race-related tweet after he wasn't selected for a match against Sri Lanka, and also Kasim Sheikh, who was also abruptly dropped from the Scotland squad. But the day before we find out what's in the report, the entire board of Cricket Scotland has resigned. Now, they've not yet seen the document, but they wrote, "We believe it will be truly transformative, not just for Cricket Scotland and the sport of cricket, but will provide a watershed moment for Scottish sport and society in general. The board have been totally committed to implementing the findings of this review in full to make the sport of cricket in Scotland a truly welcoming and inclusive place for all. We are all truly sorry and have apologised publicly to everyone who's experienced racism or any other form of discrimination in cricket in Scotland." Now, lawyer Amar Anwar, who's representing the cricketers, says this is just the start of dealing with racism.
I think this is a key watershed moment for sporting in Scotland. This isn't institutional racism just doesn't affect cricket. And it's been devastating, and it will be a devastating indictment of what has taken place, this culture that allows racism to permeate every structure and process. But it actually exists in other sports in Scotland.
And of course, tomorrow we will hear the full details of this report, and we have been told to expect some very uncomfortable reading.
OK, Martha, thank you for that update. Now to the Euros, and England's Lionesses say they are ready to face a potentially historic moment on Tuesday when they have their match against Sweden in the semi-finals.
It still feels fake. I can't believe it really happened. But yeah, it's a mad one because you want to celebrate it and you want to enjoy it, but at the same time, we're not done yet. It means nothing really. But yeah, we're just happy to be in the semi-final and able to push on.
Finally to Formula One, and the race, which ended up with two British drivers on the podium, had its own dramatic moments beforehand. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc crashed out of today's French Grand Prix, which allowed his title rival Max Verstappen to win. Chris Scudder was watching.
It was so hot on the track they were almost cooking. And a sizzling start from Lewis Hamilton in his 300th Grand Prix, instantly overtaking Sergio Perez. This was all about who could manage their tyres in the furnace-like conditions.
Still suffering from overheating.
And within moments, the leader Charles Leclerc made a mistake and crashed out of the race. The man from Monaco was okay, but that left Max Verstappen out in front, and another Brit, George Russell, battling for a podium place with Sergio Perez wheel to wheel.
Perez goes off at the chicane.
He just fully turned into me.
But Russell had the last laugh, overtaking his man and finishing third.
George Russell's ahead of him.
Up ahead, there was no stopping Verstappen.
Wins the French Grand Prix!
Hamilton, in his landmark 300th race, took a season's best finish.
Congratulations, second place.
Two Brits on the podium alongside the World Championship leader. What a day. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And that's it. Weather's next, but from the Sunday team, bye-bye.